Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're all having a lovely, lovely day. I did decide to shave. The beard was just not for me for a number of different reasons. I feel far more myself when I am clean shaven. Admittedly, this is not clean shaven. This is shaving with like a crappy razor that I think I got at a gas station while I was traveling. I will get back my better razors tomorrow, but I do feel better not having all of this cheese grater on my face anymore. So today what I'd like to discuss is an article from USPIRG, Public Interest Research Group, that was headed up by Nathan Proctor, a gentleman that I have a lot of respect for. I will link his Twitter down below. He does a lot of work for Right to Repair, and we have supported his work in the past and intend to continue into the future. This is a report called Failing the Fix, and it's going over what it is that makes different products from different companies more or less repairable. Now, they go over things like documentation, disassembly, average parts availability, average parts pricing, meaning, again, it doesn't matter if the part's available, if it costs 90% the cost of the device, and that cell phone specific score. But what I find really, really interesting about this document, it's something that I haven't seen before, is that in rating the repairability of different companies, they're actually looking at whether or not those companies support organizations that put out fear, uncertainty, and doubt on a regular basis. And they're factoring into the score. So if you take a look at the report, over here, it says, average French repairability score, number of devices scored, average assembly rating. Over here, did we find a record of direct lobbying on Right to Repair? Is the company a TechNet member? Is the company a CTA member? Anti-repair lobbying deduction. For those of you who are not aware of who TechNet or CTA is, you can hear people like CTA, this lobbyist over here, is saying that if you give your phone to somebody to fix, even if you don't give them the password when they're replacing your screen and battery, they may install TikTok on it, because apparently he doesn't understand that you can have a password on your phone and that you need the password to be able to install an application. You have him giving ridiculous answers to non-answers to people that are senators that actually have had issues with their Xbox and their stuff before that they could not get serviced properly by the manufacturer. You have people from TechNet that, this is hysterical, that were tweeting about how it sucks that their phone has no image on it, if only somebody could fix it, who then simultaneously gets up and tries to advocate against my ability to purchase a schematic from the manufacturer, and also just lots of other interesting pieces of TechNet testimony over here. So if you want to hear testimony from either CTA or TechNet, you are welcome to search my channel and you can find it. It's probably going to make you mad, I'll be honest. It's probably going to make you mad if you watch, but I do appreciate that they actually included that there. If you are funding an organization that propagates bullshit about repair, then we are going to score you down when rating how repair friendly you are. I think that's totally fair. I also like that they're looking at average parts pricing scores. Again, a lot of people will look at stuff like the Apple Independent Repair Provider Program that came out in 2019 and say, look, Apple's making parts available. What is Lewis complaining about? Yes, they're making a motherboard available. That's $800 or $900 for a $1,000 computer. I want the $5 to $15 chip that died on the motherboard so I could fix it for the customer. Because most people out there do not want to pay $500 to $1,000 to fix a $1,000 or $1,200 computer. That doesn't make any sense. Most people do not want to pay to fix an entire screen assembly that costs half as much, maybe 3/4 as much of the entire computer, when what they could be doing is replacing the LCD cell by itself. So what we do here is we will go to LG or AU Optronics or Shime or Samsung, we've been doing it for a long period of time, and we buy the actual LCD cell by itself. That's the front part that makes the image, and you can buy that, depending on availability, parts pricing, everything at the time, anywhere from $58 to $150, depending on the model, and that actually makes repair viable. When that part is, when you're selling the entire display assembly, the webcam, the back metal piece with the Apple, the hinges, all Wi-Fi antenna, all the stuff that you don't need because all you broke is the screen, and you are charging $500, $600, $700 for it, it ceases to really matter as much. It's not an economically viable repair. You made the part available, but what's the point? Again, if I tell you that it's going to cost you $10,000 to fix, your brakes and your 1996 Mercury Tracer, hey, I made the parts available to you, did I not? And I'm glad that they are focusing on that. They do make mention of the French repairability score, and that is something that I would suggest being very, very cautious of. Again, there are people that disagree with me on this, and I'm happy to talk to them about it and perhaps learn more. The last time I looked over the French repairability scores, I was very surprised at how seemingly useless a lot of it was. The MacBook was actually rated difficult to get into, in spite of the fact that you need one screwdriver. You open 8 screws and everything's there. It's not like a lot of PCs where you have layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. You open the bottom, the motherboard is right there and ready to be taken out. They rated it as hard to open, but they rated parts availability is there. And it's like, I'm fairly certain whoever wrote that had never tried to get access to an ISL 9240 before, much less a CD 3217 or a schematic to one of the newer ones. But anyway, I'm not particularly excited on the French repairability score at this point in time, but they did include that in their rating. And now, when it comes to parts availability pricing, I think that, again, this is going to be really, really important. Again, when there was this announcement that Apple is going to release a new program. It came out in November of 2021. By the end of 2022, parts will be available for the MacBook, and something that is really, really important to understand, A, shit hasn't even come out yet. That's a press release. B, it's based on the IRP program, which makes available a very, very limited number of parts at very high prices. It doesn't make again, I'm not asking a company to take an expensive piece and make it cheap just for me. I'm not asking them to take that display assembly, which is half the computer, and give it to me for $100. I'm asking you to allow the company that makes the screen that goes into that display assembly to actually make it available to us like how it used to be, so that we can just stop this nonsensical Nicolas Cage, Lord of War, back of a truck bullshit that we've been doing and screwing around with for the past 13 years that I've been working in this industry. That's about it. That's what I think of this. I'll leave a link to it down below for anybody who has any comments, questions, anything like that. And I'll also leave a link to Nathan Proctor's Twitter if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns. It's just a good Twitter account to follow. I very rarely use Twitter because Twitter is an absolute steaming dumpster fire, but Nathan Proctor's is one that I check from time to time. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.